It's Mike Lynch at Cross Country Mortgage, and it's Monday, first Monday of October, October 2nd. It's time for your Monday morning mortgage update for this week. As always, I give you tips, tools, tactics, information, things that you can do to go out and talk to your buyers and sellers, be more impactful in those conversations. Talk about what happened last week, talk about what's going to happen this week and how it's going to affect the market in the mortgage and real estate market. So let's talk about first your week. Boy, it's starting to get a little cooler. Nice brisk in the morning. 49ers, my 49ers won this week 4-0. And I think Brock Purdy had the highest quarterback rating of all the quarterbacks. So anyway, if you're a 49er fan, fantastic. So let's talk about what happened last week. We saw the rates go down a little bit, actually about a 20 basis point sell-off. If you add that into last week, the week before, and last week, we've had about a 50 basis point sell-off in the last couple weeks. So not great for rates. Why is this happening? And let's go to the charts here briefly. So we're seeing some pressure from what the Fed said a couple weeks ago with the Fed meeting, that they're going to see rates higher and for longer. So they have no intention on lowering the Fed fund rate. In fact, they may leave it alone, but they're going to let it bake. And we've been talking about this for a long time. Once they get to that ceiling where they don't think they have to raise the Fed fund rate anymore, they're going to let it sit there and let it bake and let it start to drive down inflation, which is the kryptonite for mortgage rates. Once that inflation comes down, mortgage rates will get better. Once we get into a recession, typically mortgage rates improve, and that's where we're headed. And they're going to let that Fed fund rate just stay there. It's going to affect car loans, auto loan rates, home equity lines, credit cards, the interest rate that banks charge businesses to borrow money. It's going to stay high for a while. So that really has been absorbed by the bond traders in the bond market, and they're pricing everything accordingly. And then oil prices, they're just going up. Some predictions, $150 a barrel by the end of the year. That's going to drastically increase fuel prices, and everything that we have and use and make has petroleum in it just about. So if we look at the chart here, I show you this. This is the trading of mortgage-backed securities. You can see as I float my cursor here today, we're down about 50 basis points today. So we saw a little bit of a rally at the end of last week, but just a big sell-off today. And maybe we'll improve today. We're not banking on it, or this week we're not banking on it. So let's talk about what's going to affect rates. Really two main things: jobs, a lot of jobs reports coming out, and then manufacturing data. So this week, every single day this week, there is data that's coming out that shows jobs and wage components, has jobs and wage components in it, and how many jobs are being added or taken away, and are wages going up or coming down. So Thursday, we have weekly jobless claims. Those always come out every Thursday. Friday, average hourly earnings. Are companies paying more per hour, or is that number coming down? But two big reports are coming out this week. They come out once a month: the ADP employment report and the non-farm payroll report. So why are these so important? Because these give us a real good snapshot of what's happening with jobs on a monthly basis. Now, they're very different reports in the sense that they both measure jobs. The ADP measures private sector jobs, doesn't have farming in it. And then the non-farm payroll excludes farming, private household job data, non-profit and military data. And these numbers typically align with each other. They give different, the ADP report is an actual data report, or the non-farm payroll is a survey of people. And they typically align with each other. But over the last year, they've been very off. And there's been a lot of concern about this with the economists and the people that pay attention to these reports and use them. And the main summary of this is that the current administration, the Biden administration, is skewing the non-farm payroll survey because it's showing more jobs are being added, where the ADP is showing fewer jobs are being added, and these numbers, these reports are starting to head in opposite directions. So this is kind of a pivotal week. And why is that? Because the UAW strike, which affects obviously the automobile industry and all the ancillary companies that support that, it's not going away. They're talking about ramping it up and making it more impactful. And both sides are, putting their foot in the sand and not budging. And so if the non-farm payroll starts to show that more jobs are added, it really flies in the face of the numbers that are out there that everybody thinks are out there in reality. And we're going to pay a lot of attention to this non-farm payroll report that's coming out Friday to see if the number shows real numbers and matches ADP, or if it's skewed again, which is just going to support the fact that the administration's really cooking the books on these, if you will. The next thing is manufacturing. So a lot of manufacturing data that basically tells us, are businesses making stuff or are they backing off? So we've been in a manufacturing recession for a good part of a year, and the numbers just aren't getting better. They're getting worse and worse, which is really leading us down this path that we're headed into a recession. Everybody sees it, and it's just more data that is going to support that. So one thing that we always see in a recession is the housing market typically does fairly well. Rates come down. The only time that the recession didn't do well with the housing was the last housing crisis in 8, 9, and 10, which was just kind of an anomaly. It was because of the housing market that caused the recession. So be interesting to see how this plays out. But those really are the two big things we're looking at this week. So we're starting the week cautiously floating. There is some indication if we see the job numbers align with ADP, the non-farm payroll, we may see some better pricing. Cautiously floating, moving to that locking position if we see any changes. If you have any questions on the market, go ahead and give me a call. If you know somebody could benefit this video, please forward it to them. Have a fantastic, productive week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.